Hello pretty people, Kawajapa no Kyodori desu. Today we're going to talk about the sentence ender na no. Now we've already talked about sentence enders like noda, nodes, nanoda, nanodes, noni, nanoni, and if you watch the videos on these two groups, you will know by now that even though they can seem confusing to a newcomer, they're in fact very simple and logical and easy to understand once you know how they really work. I'm afraid my voice hasn't quite recovered, so we're going to have to live with that for another week. Alright, so na no. How does that actually work? First, let's look at the sentence ender no. Now, this is a casual sentence ender. It's used more by women and children, although it is used by everyone. And it's not the other no. It's not the grammatical particle no. It's a sentence ender particle for casual use. Is that confusing? No, if you'll excuse the pun. It's not confusing because a sentence ender particle can only come after the logical end of the sentence. And the grammatical no can never come after the logical end of the sentence. It can come near to it in sentences that end in noda or nodes, but notice that that da or des is the logical grammatical end of the sentence. So no coming before it can't be a sentence ender particle. So what kind of a sentence ender particle is no? It actually has two functions. In its first function, it's rather like yo. It's much more like yo than like ne. And we've of course discussed those before. It marks information that you assume the speaker not to know, and it is a little emphatic. It doesn't have to be strongly emphatic, it can just be a conversational kind of emphasis. Now the second meaning is rather different, and that is that it's also a question marker. We can easily tell the difference between the two because as a question marker it has a strongly rising intonation. So, Sakura ga konai no means Sakura is not coming, telling you she's not coming. Sakura ga konai no, isn't Sakura coming? I don't think it's easy to confuse those two. If we do it in writing, even though the question mark isn't a traditional part of Japanese writing, we can use a question mark to indicate that rising question intonation. Why is no used as a question marker? Essentially because the formal question marker ka is not generally used as a sentence ender in informal sentences. It can be, but popping that ka on the end without a desu or a masu before it can sound quite curt, and there are many occasions when even male speakers wouldn't want to use it. So no kind of substitutes for ka in informal sentence. Good, so I think we understand no. When it's used not as a question marker, it is more feminine or childlike than when it's used as a question marker. So what is nano? Well, this na is our old friend, the connective form of da. The only thing we have to learn here is a little fact of Japanese, which is that da cannot be used before no. So when we complete a sentence, we can usually pop a sentence ender just after it. Inu da yo, it's a dog. Inu da ne, it's a dog, isn't it? But if that sentence ender is no, we can't say inu da no. We have to use the connective form of da and say inu na no. And that is exactly what's going on here. The nano ending means that we have ended a copular sentence, that's to say a sentence that ends in a noun, or a so-called na adjective, which is also a noun, and then is followed by no. Inu na no means inu da, it's a dog, plus the sentence ender no. And that's really all there is to know. A nano ending statement is simply a statement that ends with da. The da is changed to na because a no is coming after it as the sentence ender. And it's as simple as that. Please remember that the course book for this course of lessons is Unlocking Japanese. You can get it at Amazon in Kindle or paperback edition. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments below and I will answer. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already for lots more information on how Japanese really works. Thank you for attending this lesson. これからもよろしくお願いします。 Class dismissed.